time to pet your familiar, tie up your hair, and get ready to cook, because today we're making spooky food for spooky season. Now, every year, my friends and I throw a Halloween party, but every year we kind of run into the same problems. I try to find Halloween party food ideas where some are more involved, some are more easy, they're not all sweets. I want something that tastes good, that can sit at room temperature for a little bit and not get soggy or crusty. It's a lot harder than it sounds because every Halloween party food ideas thing seems to be it's for kids. That's great for kids, but I can't eat 6 sweet things in one night anymore. There's also a lot of ideas that revolve around making things look like pumpkins or ghosts, which is fine, but a lot of them end up using a lot of fondant or royal icing or white chocolate, which are things that I just personally don't like the flavor of. So for this video, we have some spooky looking black bean dip, jalapeno poppers, and some tea sandwiches inspired by the flavors found in a Bloody Mary drink. We have a lot of baking and assembling to do, so let's get started. To begin, we have the meringue cookies, and I got this idea from a part of a Martha Stewart magazine. For these, we have 2 final products we're going to be going for. One part of the batch will end up being shaped like bones, and one half will have as ghosts. For this, I really recommend a scale so we can use equal parts of sugar and egg whites to make these. For a double batch, I'm going to use 150 grams of egg whites and 150 grams of sugar. To begin, we need to preheat the oven to 200 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're just going to put the egg whites in a stand mixer or in a stainless steel bowl to use an electric mixer, slowly adding in the sugar in small batches. We're going to beat these until they form peaks. Next, this needs to go into a piping bag, and we're just going to go ahead and pipe out the shapes. Now, since the ghost-shaped meringues are much thicker than the bones, I would personally recommend piping them out on separate trays so you can take the bones out first. These need to go in the oven for about an hour until the meringue no longer feels tacky on top. Then just let them sit in the oven with the temperature off for about another 20 minutes or so. The great part about these is that you can use them as decoration on brownies, scatter them about the table, or use them as toppings for a variety of pumpkin or chocolate-based drinks. You can also store these in an airtight container for a few days before you need them, so part of this baking can be done the day or days before the party. Next, we're going to work on the black bean dip, which Food Network magazine refers to as swamp dip. For these, we're going to char 3 poblanos, and in this case, since I have an electric stove and don't trust my oven to be that hot, we're just going to go ahead and use the blowtorch I got for a birthday one year and char these. You can also do this on a gas stove top. You want them to be black all over, and don't worry because we will be taking off the charred part. To remove the skin, you can either use gloves or run them under warm water to help peel them off. I don't recommend the water method since it does reduce the flavor of the poblanos. We're also taking off the top and the seeds here. After this, we just need to add in the rest of the ingredients into a blender and blend until it's smooth. We'll need 15 ounces of black beans, a half cup of fresh cilantro, a half cup of scallions, 2 limes worth of lime juice, a 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, a half cup of water, and salt and pepper to taste. Mine ended up being more of the consistency of a salsa, so you can adjust the water to get the consistency to your liking. We're serving on a spooky pattern board with some blue tortilla chips, and voila! For the jalapeno poppers, we're going to use a recipe by Young Sun. We're going to need to preheat the oven to 400 degrees and then work on the filling. For this, we're just going to take 6 ounces of cream cheese, but set aside a small amount of cream cheese for decorating later. 1.5 cups of shredded cheddar, 2 thinly sliced scallions, 1 clove of minced garlic, and some salt, and mix it together until it's homogeneous. We then need to cut the 10 jalapenos in half, scooping out the seeds and then filling them up to the top, making a very level surface. We're then taking an 8-ounce tube of crescent rolls and cutting them into small strips to resemble mummy bandages and wrap them around. We're going to bake these for about 15 minutes until the tops reach the color that we want. When these have cooled very slightly, we're going to take some of the cream cheese and pipe little eyes on them. We also need to cut up some black olives for the eyes, and there we have it. Finally, let's work on the tea sandwiches using a recipe based on the one from Valerie Bertinelli. To begin, we're going to start on a garnish for these, which are just some pickled jalapeno peppers. For these, we're going to slice up the jalapenos. We need equal parts of sushi or rice vinegar, distilled vinegar, and water, as well as 2 tablespoons of salt and your desired amount of jalapenos. We just need to bring up the vinegars, water, and salt to a boil, then pour the liquid over them, setting them in the fridge until we need them. Next, we'll work on the filling. We just need to combine 1/2 cup of finely chopped celery, a 1/4 cup of finely chopped pimiento stuffed olives, a few drops of Cholula, a 1/2 teaspoon of anchovy paste or fish sauce if you don't have that, a 1/2 teaspoon of lemon zest, with 8 ounces of cream cheese and some salt to taste. For assembly, we're going to use whole wheat sandwich bread for the bottom and white for the tops. Simply spread the filling out to the ends of both sides of bread, top with some slices of tomato of choice, as well as some arugula, and then slice off the crusts. And then cut them into triangles. At this point, we can wrap them up in plastic wrap until needed, then garnish with some of the pickled jalapeno peppers. Now let's take a look at the spread. These are really fun to make, and I feel like they really hit the savory tooth. Of course, I'm looking forward to trying more spooky recipes in the future, so subscribe to see more if you haven't already. See you next time.